And we're live. Welcome, everybody, to another episode or week of the SEA Wolves podcast. For all those, we're actually streaming live now on Twitch. So if you're watching this in the future on YouTube, this is originally streamed on Twitch roughly 5 o'clock on Saturdays. But, for those YouTube viewers, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you, are enjoying yourself. And Julian, welcome. We just finished a rather lengthy stream of Mario Kart on this.
Was it lengthy? Was it too much?
No. This is perfect length. What we did was about 2 hours of Mario Kart.
Was it too fast in the relationship to go for an hour stream? Or I mean, I gave you the key to my private room
Your private room, your game
for
room.
playing. Actually, I'm still playing. You man,
Yeah,
you've been training this week.
I have not. I seriously
You
haven't played.
have,
I
you
hadn't played
have.
since
No,
last
you
week.
looked it up. Okay, so you looked it up. You looked up all the tricks and everything. Because I mean, I just learned about the drum thing, and you know, last week you couldn't start the race, with the boost,
Yeah.
and all of that. So no, man, cheers. Was a great game. I enjoyed it.
Cheers. But yeah, I mean,
Enjoy your water.
I will enjoy my water,
Your Russian water.
my Russian water. All right, so
Moscow water
Moscow water. But
is what we're gonna call it from now on. Yeah,
man, Mugello,
Mugello.
what a race!
Uh,
Italy delivered
what
2 weeks in a row this year.
yeah. Sorry. Okay. Well, 3. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. We've got 3 red flags. Unbelievable. I just think this race was not as exciting as Monza. I mean, Monza was. I mean, it's just like Monza took us from the very beginning to the very end into a hard racing kind of a setup, right?
Yeah,
All the ingredients were there. Mugello, in a way, was kind of boring, with lots of events happening.
yeah.
But again,
Only,
man,
only,
it's racing.
only 12 cars finished.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. It was a crash derby all over again.
Yeah. But I
um,
mean,
but I think
it was
okay.
enjoyable.
In
It
terms of
was
it
enjoyable.
was a great race. Don't get me wrong, it was a great race. In terms of excitement, I thought Monza was up there compared to it.
I have to ask, how was Thailand after Albon winning?
Um, well, it was on the papers, it was in the news, it was, like the whole thing.
Yeah,
The very first podium for a Thai driver. Not the first Thai driver to be in Formula One, by the way. The very first one was Prince Bira.
okay. Really?
And that actually, yeah, that was in the 50s, I believe. I mean, correct me
Okay,
if you please. But the thing is, that gave birth to the Bira circuit,
it did.
which is on the way to Chonburi, to about what, an hour drive south of the airport, the international airport,
Hmm.
Suvarnabhumi. And yeah, that's where we're gonna be doing some of our first time attacks, isn't it?
Very much so. I mean, we both of us are dying for this COVID shit to end because, I mean, we're just sitting there with the cash ready to go to buy our project car,
Mm.
and then as things are going, like, yep, let's do it. It just all falls apart. It was just so disappointing with all this COVID stuff.
Yeah, because we were really looking into it. I mean, you know what? We could, at the end of this stream, for people who care and actually go to the end of it, we could be looking up cars, like those the car that we want to have.
Yeah, I
It's
think
not
that'd be
a
a good idea.
it's a reveal or whatever reveal. I mean, everybody knows. I think we, on the second one or first podcast, sorry, that we had, we already talked about what the car should be. But it will be an interesting exercise of real, like, myself anyway, very rookie into tuning a car, going from what the car is, do a lap, and then incrementally improve it
Mm.
to see what the results, you know,
Yeah,
are.
I mean, I think it's really funny you say that because I mean, you actually already have a fairly tuned RX-7,
Yeah,
but then again,
yeah,
it was bought or basically ready to go, so it wasn't like you were
yeah.
involved from step one.
No, the only thing that I did, I mean, in engine-wise, yes, it was. I just retuned the engine, basically. So it's a new tune on it that is a bit more conservative. And the reason why I wanted conservative is because I want it a bit more reliable as well.
Yeah.
But the suspension, brakes, tires,
Mm.
that combo is something that yeah, I came up with. I didn't do the work myself, sure, but I asked a garage to do it. But yeah, essentially the car is I bought it almost that way. I changed the looks as well because I just thought the
Hey, you
looks,
did body work and like aesthetic stuff.
yeah, body work, the wing, the hood, yeah, the roll cage, all of that is, are things that I wanted to change. But yeah, essentially the engine was already built. It's a JICA actually. If anybody's interested in Thailand to find somebody who's the rotary wizard in the country. Eric and I met the guy, and that's when I decided to actually go ahead and buy a rotary engine because before this I didn't know anybody, and those engines, call them reliable, not reliable, whatever. It's just that you need at least to have somebody in the country who's able to service it.
Yeah,
And that's
100%.
what we found, right? That's what we found. So we don't live in countries like in the US where everything is readily available. You can just eBay anything you want and get it the next day on in the mail and everything. It's not the same thing for us. We have to go through the hoops of importing customs, paying the
Yeah,
tax, everything, and then if you get the wrong thing, it will have cost you like way more. I mean, like the base car already costs you way more than it would in the US. I mean, in the US, you can get an RX-7 for what, $2,500. Um, Granted, mine is a right-hand drive, which has more value apparently on the scene. But yeah, it cost about 15 times that. So
yeah,
actually a bit more. But yeah, in the end, and it was not a sorted car when I bought it. The clutch was gone. Like a lot of things um, were needed to be fixed on that car. So
yeah,
yeah, again, love the cars, but I think for time attack, we're looking another way. We're looking at something that is legendary in terms of reliability. We're going to tune it so much that it's probably not going to be the case. But um, anyway, what we want to try and do is actually very much in the spirit of Gordon Murray. I mean, we talked about the T50
yeah,
coming out, but we want to add lightness first, and not necessarily go straight into horsepower, right? We want to go into handling,
yeah,
lightness, the perfect setup there. And once we're comfortable with that, aero as well, and once we're comfortable with all those elements, then we're going to add, or look into maybe an engine swap or whatever, that will help us get those extra seconds
yeah. I mean, for me,
uptime.
I think the philosophy of the car is we want to grow with the car. So, me personally, I mean, I haven't even driven for a long time since December. No, yeah, December last year, which is a long time, man. Like when I was back in Australia. But the reality is, the idea is we want to get in the car. I mean, I used to do a bit of racing myself. I wouldn't say I was doing it a lot, but I'd be taking different cars out on the track and having a bit of fun in the vein of like free track days, time attack, that sort of thing.
Mm.
And for me, I need to get comfortable behind the wheel again. That's for sure. But I suppose the idea is we want a car it's had some work done to it, and in Thailand you can actually find a lot of those. Most of these most of the enthusiast cars, and it's like a Honda Civic, like a EG Civic, is an enthusiast car because it is really like an entry level. It's a
Oh, you
tuning.
just announced it, man. I was very careful not to say what the car was.
What do
You
we have?
just went ahead and
Do we have thousands or hundreds of thousands of viewers in Thailand? Do we?
but we've got yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. I
That's
shut the
all.
fuck up.
That's all I'm saying, man. Like, but like seriously, like it is really like it's a car that we're going to grow with. We're going to grow as drivers, and the car's going to evolve with us, and that's going to bring us a lot of fun. And the other thing as well is it's really going to help us with our other trips, because I mean we've got the idea of picking up a bath in in
Oh
in
man, that one is
Europe.
going to be so fantastic. I must say,
Yeah,
I can't wait
yeah.
for that
I
one.
mean, I'm really looking forward to, like, jumping over to France, or wherever it is we're gonna station the car, and then picking it up and throwing some money into it to mod it, and then just being able to drive some of these legendary European tracks. I mean, that for me, that's gonna be awesome.
I mean, we should make it a series as well. As in, every year. So we buy the base car, and the idea is that we want to go to the Nürburgring, right? First, then go to Spa, and then hopefully the dates when we go coincide with either Goodwood or Le Mans. Eric is a big fan of Le Mans, and you're going to be talking about this at length.
Oh
I can't,
yeah,
I can't
Le
wait to
Mans.
be
Okay,
fucking bored by you geeking on Le Mans. That's gonna happen soon. So yeah, you see how excited he is.
we have
You
to
can see
get the
the
F.
you can see the pre-com on his screen.
We have to get we have to get the F1 out of the way first. But you
But
know,
yeah, no, we'll do that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, the thing is, yeah, that's the idea of the trip. Two good mates going together um, to the Nürburgring for the first time, and we're not going to do crazy things like what you see on channels. We're going to go for it very vanilla style.
mm.
So we're going to go for the taxi first, and people telling us about the track, and we're definitely not going to break records or anything around that track. But
Are you
anyway,
sure? Are you sure? Like I've got like 100 hours of practice on Gran Turismo. I'm a fucking
uh,
superstar of the Nova.
yeah, and we'll practice before that happens, because that's the other thing we want to do about the
Yeah,
car
yeah, yeah.
racing and yeah, the online, the twitching, and blah blah blah. But no, the real thing that's interesting is that we will have this base car, so we'll have done those tracks, but there are so many other tracks around Europe, right, that we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
go to. Exactly, coming back to your point, I mean, I want to do Silverstone. I want to do Barcelona. I'd love to do Monza. There are so many tracks around Europe that we can go to. So
Yeah.
we'll have that car available to us to do all those things. So the project is not just for that one summer, one holiday where we do those things. It's going to be for many years to come. And we're going to do those seasons, episode 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 episodes, 4 episodes, whatever the case may be.
Mm.
um, but we're gonna have, yeah, seasons created around this. This is what I really see in this. And then people are interested, they come in, they're not, same difference to me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
um because at the end of the day, it's like this podcast, right? Or this stream, or whatever we want to call it. It's you and I getting together, and
Yeah,
that's the most important thing.
that's exactly it. Well, let's finish off the talk about Mugello, because a lot happened. Like you said, I think the finishing order was surprising well, actually, it wasn't that surprising. Albon should have been on the podium because Verstappen was not there.
I wanted Ricardo to get on the podium, though. I mean, it's like, yeah, you get that balance between Ricardo and Albon. I wanted both of them to get on the podium,
Yeah,
to be
it
honest.
wasn't it amazing seeing Ricciardo take um Bottas in the first lap. He was like he went from third to second, you know.
Yeah, but imagine, Cyril Abitbull getting that tattoo
Yeah,
of
that would have been great.
that would have been, he would say, I don't want it anywhere obvious. The guy doesn't have any tattoos, right? So it's going to be like, let's put it on my ass. And then Ricardo would have been like, okay, let's put a tattoo of "Let me in," on his ass, and that would have been fantastic. I'm
That would have been
sorry, but that
great.
would
That
have,
would have been great.
yeah, like, one way only or whatever.
One way only. I like that. I like that a lot. One way
Oh,
only. But I really want to see Renault up there again. And this is Renault's last season as Renault because it was announced Alpine. They're becoming Alpine.
man, actually, I cannot wait. I'm excited for this, and I'm excited for this because I love the name Alpine. I love the Alpine cars. I
Yeah.
know that whatever his name is on Top Gear, Clarkson shot on the Alpine 110 and all of that. Um, they're fantastic cars. Any way you look at them, if you
They
look
are.
at Hubi's garage, he actually bought one.
Did he? I
And
didn't know that. Oh no.
because he's saying, wow, this car is just unbelievable. The way it handles
Yeah.
is way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Um, but Alpine is a very small manufacturer that got bought by Reynolds, and kind of killed in the process. And it's very sad to see this. And
Mm.
the way I mean, what excites me the most about having Alpine back is that we're gonna have that Alpine blue
Yeah.
on the grid. So just for the colors around the grid is going to be exciting to have this. But more than that, that means there is a strategy behind of Renault trying to revive the brand.
I think so.
And the new Alpine that they did apparently is fantastic. I can't wait. Like I'm thinking, we're going the Abarth way, but actually I'm thinking we should probably consider also the Alpine, if we can find one that's affordable, in a couple of years when we're actually doing the project that we have in mind.
Yep.
But I love the history. I love whatever happened in the past, and the brand itself. I just love this, and for me, it's about fucking time that France is coming up with a supercar. And okay, anybody can say Bugatti is French. Sorry, it's not French. It is French in its, the company is there and the title and all of that. Yes, it is French on that side, but seriously, it's not French in the. It's a very German car in the way of its efficiency and everything. It probably has, and again,
Yeah.
I'm talking out of
It
my
is.
ass
It is.
here,
It is a
from what
very
I
nice.
see, but
Yeah.
it's just like efficiency first. Yeah?
Yeah. It,
It won't kick your ass. I want, what I want? I want the Clio V6 back. I want the Renault Turbo 5 back. I want the 205 GTI back. And I think these are all the things that Alpine might be able to give us back.
I think so. And like Alpine is not a new name in racing. Signatech Alpine. They actually had bringing it back to Le Mans and endurance racing. So
Ah,
Signatech Alpine is actually running in has been running in World Endurance Championship for almost 10 years. So Alpine is not an unfamiliar name in racing. They've been in the LMP2 category for almost 10 years. So and you've obviously seen the livery, that livery. Uh I'm just trying to grab some photos for us when we get to the World Endurance Championship.
well,
Um,
let you struggle. I'm enjoying this.
but
Like trying to
they've put
find your words. It's
yeah, but
quite enjoyable.
the thing that's really interesting as well is um having Alpine in in Formula One is going to be fucking amazing. The other thing that's interesting is Alpine is now no longer going to be racing in LMP2 in the World Endurance Championship. They're moving up to the LMP1 category next year. So they're going to race to the top
Nice.
tier. And you know what's really interesting, and for those that actually give a shit about endurance racing, is that the um the
Everybody
Toyotas,
does, man. I'm
yeah,
listening to you. I
yeah.
mean, like, I don't know anything about WEC, and I'm like really inspired by you loving it so much. So,
You
you know,
you you
spread the
should
love.
you should love WEC because it is a creation of the French.
Peugeot is back.
Yeah, we'll get there. Let's finish F1.
No!
I'm still talking F1, but next, but this is the thing for Le Mans this year. All through free practice and qualifying, Toyota, who are running the hybrid, the V8 hybrid in LMP1 category, for most of the weekend so far, obviously the race hasn't started, they weren't the fastest. The Rebellion Racing full petrol was faster than Toyota most of the week. So
The
for Alpine,
RB 787 Mazda
yeah,
will tell you I was never the fastest car, but I was the most reliable and the most efficient in fuel consumption, and that's how I won. But it
yeah,
was never the fastest car.
that's
The
exactly right.
24, that's what I like about the WEC, is that it's a race on different parameters
Yeah,
than what we know. It's the marathon versus the sprint.
yeah, exactly.
And this is just so very interesting, and it's you who actually brought that to my attention. I never knew it before.
Yeah, and it really is like seriously, man. Like, I mean, going back to what I was saying, the next year will be the last year that the LMP1 cars are the top tier. Um,
They're going
what
prototypes.
No, prototypes won't be the top tier. They're changing it to the super hypercar category. So they're
Ooh.
homologation cars. We'll get to it later. But let's finish let's actually finish on
Mugello.
Mugello here.
Everything has been said about Mugello, man,
No,
and
you know what?
the race wasn't
There's something.
so exciting.
The race was
It
not so
was it
exciting.
was a Mercedes one too.
It was exciting in the sense that there was lots of fucking accidents, you know. So for TV and
Yeah,
spectators, it was great. But the thing that was really good about Magellan, what that's big about Magellan, the second crash. So we had a lot of cars flail out of the race and blah blah blah. But the second crash, you know, where you had everyone just exploded on the restart. So they basically so they had something go wrong. I can't actually remember now because it was a week ago, and we record this podcast a week after the race, and we have time to ferment everything. But the thing that was to me, the thing that was interesting is like they're trying to say who's to blame for the crash, and both of us were sitting there going, "What the fuck is Bottas doing? The light's green, go!" You know, like the safety car pulled off the circuit, and it was like um, the safety car pulled off the circuit, and the light went green. And we are waiting to go, but apparently the rules are you go at the start line. So and we
yeah,
were saying he was
yeah.
going weaving back and forth and blah 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 and this that and the other. And I know he was trying to put off
And
Hamilton
for
because
me,
he really wanted the pole.
you got Hamilton coming to the defense of Bottas. Bottas saying it's not my fault. It's just the way the rules are. Just I did not accelerate. I did not stop. I did not do anything of this. It was just irresponsible. My way
Yeah,
to look
but
at it is just I still the same. I still blame Bottas for it, and I'm sorry. I just Bottas. I'm a little bit bored of Bottas.
yeah,
I would like somebody more exciting to take his seat. Basically, that's it. And maybe that's where it comes from as well. Maybe it's biased already. Um, but yeah, I want him out of F1 if it's possible. I mean, the
yeah,
guy is definitely talented, but I'm just there's always an excuse. There's always something for him not being in the okay. He was faster the whole weekend, and Esteban Ocon during qualifying went out. Yellow flag. He couldn't get his second lap in. I don't know. There's always a problem happening, and while there's a problem for him, everybody else around the grid is capitalizing on it
yeah,
a different way. So I'm just, either the guy is like unbelievably unlucky, um, but in the end, you know what? Put Verstappen in front of Hamilton in the same car. That would be grand. Put even Sainz or who else would I think? Vettel, of course, Vettel against Hamilton. That would be awesome. Um, put somebody else. I think you know we've got Bottas version 1, 2, 3. he's not gonna do anything interesting until we get to version 69.
But he's consistently fast. Like
No, I mean,
you can't argue that.
man, and anybody in F1, when I'm saying this all the time, anybody who reaches F1 is talented.
Yeah.
And that goes for everybody,
Yeah.
even the paying drivers, even the drivers who have dads who can buy freaking places. I mean, like freaking, teams.
Even Maldonado was talented.
Yeah, in his own way. I mean,
Yeah.
what a beautiful way to crash into people.
Yeah, I know.
Um, but
No, but you know what? You know what my opinion was, and believe it or not, this whole Bottas thing straight away, I was like, "What the fuck is he doing? Light is green, go." But
yeah, it's
yeah,
a rush start. It's a like the guy had like there were three races in one, right?
yeah,
There were three starts in that
yeah, three
race, right?
start in that race.
He
Yeah,
botched three starts.
yeah, he
He
did.
botched all of them, and
Yep.
I'm sorry, for me, even like him going at a steady speed until the finish or start finish line to go again, that was botched anyway,
Yeah. I
because
mean,
he waited until then to make it happen. He could have make
yeah.
it happen before this. He could have capitalized on this, and I don't, the guy is not good enough. And the thing
No,
is
you can't say that. The guy's consistently on the podium. You can't say he's not good
the
enough.
guy is not good enough. The guy doesn't compare to someone like Hamilton.
Hamilton's
And
an
then this,
anomaly.
it pains me to say this because I'm really not a fan of Rosberg, but he's not a Rosberg.
No. And
Rosberg was much better.
you've finally come around. Rosberg was great.
No, no, no. I'm not coming around. I'm not coming around. I still dislike the guy. I dislike the way he communicates. I dislike so many things.
Yeah.
About I just disagree with his philosophy. That doesn't mean like he's a bad person. It's just like
No.
it doesn't. I'm not interested in what he has to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, okay. I
That's
get
it.
it.
Like it bothers
But
me.
you know what? You
So,
know,
but at the same time, he's a great guy. Come on, he's a world champion.
yeah,
First of all,
he
he
is.
came into Formula One. He's a Formula One Grand Prix winner, and then a world champion. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't get any higher than this.
No.
You
But
know.
I've got to say, really, I do have to say, when you and me were watching that race, we said the same thing. What the fuck is Bottas doing? But I looked into it all week, like not all week, but for the first few days of the week, I was really going, what actually caused that accident? And you know what it was? I looked at it and I conceded. Bottas followed the rules exactly. We can say
Yeah.
what we want. We can say, personally, I still see what Bottas did as unsportsmanly like.
Yeah.
But
That's the point. That's
yeah,
the real point. That's what
yeah,
you're
it's
saying. Just saying.
unsportsmanship like. But the biggest problem with what happened had nothing to do with Bottas.
No.
What you know what it was? George Russell left a massive gap before the final turn, right? He came around the corner, and he floored it to the pack, and then braked, and then everyone hit him. Well, not him, but like everyone just went, "Oh, we're racing." So everyone in the middle field just went, "Oh, we're racing. Let's go." They saw the green light. Oh, we must be racing. Let's go. But all he did was he left such a big gap in the midfield that he went and closed the gap, braked, and then everyone behind him just went bang. And that's what happened in the race, is that it was not actually, like, as unhappy as I am with what Bottas did, and I don't get me wrong,
Unsportsmanlike is
it's
the right
unsports
word.
yeah, it's unsportsmanlike,
Yeah.
but what happened is because what Bottas was doing was so that Hamilton couldn't get the slipstream into turn one. That's all it was, right? And he tried to make himself as slow as possible up to turn one so he couldn't get the
No, I mean,
slipstream.
again,
But
yeah, like in terms of strategy and everything, he was right, and yeah, he was within the rule. but at the same time, it's irresponsible to do what he did.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he's not the one to blame because, as you
No,
said, some other drivers probably did say the wrong thing. But yeah, they say that the FIA blamed or actually gave a warning to
yeah.
about
12
10
drivers.
drivers
No, it's 12 drivers got a
out of
warning after
11
that race.
drivers on the grid.
Yeah,
I mean,
incredible. So the reality is this, like, it pains me to say it. Like, the biggest issue I have with that is Bottas being unsportsmanlike. But the
yeah,
reality
and
is
not
he
apologizing for
yeah,
it. Like
but
it's
he followed
somebody else's
he
fault. And
followed the rules, and I can't argue with that because I love that Vettel overtook somebody in the pit lane entry. And I sit there and say, I can't argue with that because you
true.
found an exploit in the rules, and I can't argue with that. But when it comes to things like what was the true cause of the accident, it was definitely George Russell. He left a big gap.
No, no, no. Yeah, I
He
mean,
saw the
at
green
the
and he
end,
went
you
for it,
know,
and
yeah, yeah.
then
It was at the
everything
back
got
of the
better.
grid. I mean,
Yeah,
in front of the grid, they were not as bad. So definitely there was a problem of drivers at the back of the grid when that happened. Yeah, sure. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, for me, you know. Kind of hiding behind the rules of saying, yeah, this is what the whole. It's like I was within the law,
yeah.
and the others have to deal with it.
Mm,
It again, Bottas, yeah,
yeah,
2.0,
yeah,
3.0,
yeah,
fucks the start. I mean, the guy is really fast. He's really talented, but here, in terms of um, commitment, focus, I don't know what it is.
yeah.
Grit. He doesn't have it, and
I
he
have.
will never be able to. The unfortunate thing for Bottas is that Hamilton happened,
Yeah, you know what though? Like, I
and the
can't.
fortunate thing for him that happened is that Rosberg happened. We should put somebody else on that seat. In that seat, I'm sorry, Bottas should still be in Formula One. I'm not denying this, but he should not be in that car.
Yeah.
Put a challenger on that car. But of course, it's not to the interest of Mercedes anyway to do this.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting what they want. They're getting the constructors
Yeah,
titles. They're getting the world championships. They're happy.
yeah. And then if they tell Bottas who is first to slow down, he will.
You want me to be honest though?
So he's a team player.
I think but this is the thing that was very interesting about the last race is Bottas. Remember, he was saying whatever Lewis is on, I want the opposite, right?
Yeah, but yeah, yeah.
But you know what was really interesting about that is I felt that he really wants a championship. Okay, and I think he deserves a championship. Like, genuinely, I
Yeah,
think he does. And you know what the big thing is? I really I how do I put this? We have our problems with Bottas, like you every week, Bottas 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. I hear it every week. But I think he deserves a championship. The thing that was interesting was I feel, with Vettel that, before the last race, he knew Vettel was on the market and there's a lot of races on the market. I think he was sitting there going, my seat is probably being discussed. And he's sitting there going, I
it
don't give a
was.
fuck anymore. Yeah. And the
And
sad
the fact that the fact that Vettel is ending with a Mercedes engine behind him
yeah.
is definitely coming back. I mean, for me, it was reminiscent of what Toto said. Vettel is on the market. This is not something we can ignore.
Yes, exactly. And I think they said that I can't quite remember, but I think they feel a bit of that there's obviously loyalty towards Bottas because he has performed for the team, you know. But Vet,
Yes,
Vettel when he gets behind a
but
good car,
to me,
he's
it's
special.
more where we have a number one driver and that's who we follow.
Yeah.
So Mercedes is doing the Red Bull thing, or Red Bull is doing it obviously. Mercedes is trying to balance the act, but at the end of the day, that's the way it is.
But it was, you
Um,
know what the funny thing is? This is a pure example of somebody is making the decisions in the team. So going
yeah,
back to the tire strategy, this is he's really making the decision. Like somebody in the team is really making the no problem. Somebody in the team is really making the decisions there to say, look, like Bottas was saying, I want the opposite tire strategy to Lewis because obviously he wants to win. He wants more races. He saw an opportunity with Hamilton coming seventh in the last race, seventh or eighth. No, it was seventh. Coming in the last race to really go, I've got an opportunity to make some points up here. I need to take him in this race. And I was really paying attention here to say, all right, so Bottas is in first. He's going on, I think he went on hards, and Hamilton came in. They put him on the same tire. And
no, 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 no. This is where I disagree. Um, he asked for the hearts. Um, what happened is that when right after Bottas said, "I want to be on the opposite strategy," which is completely stupid. Why would you want to be on the opposite strategy? You have to be on a strategy which is a strategy that works for you.
I hear that. I hear that.
Which is this is where the headspace of Bottas is wrong to me.
Yeah.
He's really comparing himself to Hamilton instead of doing his own thing.
Yeah.
He's
I
not
think you're right.
he's not using his talent. He's mirroring what Hamilton is doing to try and be faster or better than him, which
Yeah.
is the wrong approach.
Yeah.
When you want to do something, you do the best you can do.
Yeah.
And so the opposite strategy was completely wrong. The thing is, when he said that, a couple of laps later, or maybe the lap after, he said, "Oh, I'm feeling vibration in my tires."
Yeah.
And remember, what we said just before the Mugello race is that the lateral G's that you take, are comparable to Silverstone.
Yeah.
And remember what happened in Silverstone. So
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
soon as the vibration came in, everybody got nervous at Mercedes to say, "Well, we need to change his tires." And he was the first one to come in, and
He
he
was.
got the hard tires,
He
right?
did. He did.
And then Hamilton coming in, and they were gonna do whatever tires. I think they were gonna put him on mediums initially, which was obviously different from what Bottas was asking.
Yeah.
But Hamilton said, "I'm not comfortable with this,"
Yeah.
and he asked for the hards,
Yeah.
and he got the hards. And I'm sorry, this is what racing is. You need to be in the mental state of achieving the best you can do. And the best
Yeah.
you can do is not against somebody else, it's racing yourself.
Yeah. I am, like, personally, I'm tired of seeing Hamilton win all the time. And I would like to
Man,
see a bit of success from from Bottas.
man, I think we
Look, I think the
the guy shows so much motivation. It seems very genuinely excited every time he wins a race. For him, it's a new thing. You know, of course, everybody loves the underdog more than anything else, right?
Yeah.
And we love to see a mix when it comes to the podium, which we had in Monza. Um, the thing is, the guy is absolutely awesome and great and an unbelievable racer, and he's got the best hardware for him to achieve that. Sure, um, but the fact that they are number one and they've been number one since the beginning of the hybrid era, I'm sorry, it's like, wow. The hardest thing you can do in terms of performance is to stay up the top, because
Yeah.
when you're up the top, everybody is trying to catch up. When you have falling out like Ferrari does, in terms of performance,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's actually easy, because you can identify exactly what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And so this is where you can build up, right? But when you're at the top, what do you do next?
Yeah.
And the fact that Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton have been able to consistently continue to improve is just testament to such a strong team. Just, I
Yeah.
mean, to me, this is absolutely amazing. I mean, in terms of business, it's the same way, right?
You know, there's another thing that's really interesting. I mean, when we're talking about Bottas, I think something Bottas is because there's a lot of races left this year. We're only halfway through the season.
Yeah, in a
Um,
sense, yeah.
yeah, and I think Bottas really wants it, right? And the thing that's really interesting as well about Bottas is he's starting to get lippy. You know, for him to say whatever Hamilton is on, I want the opposite. He's starting to think for himself. He doesn't care about the team anymore. He's starting. Hold on. And there's another interesting thing that came out this week is that uh, Bottas is really starting to be a bit of a smartass. Um, that was the first thing. Whatever Lewis is doing, I want the opposite. Then there was another thing that was I've been you were talking. I've been trying to search it. I just can't find it. It's like it's been buried. But what he was doing was Mercedes posted a photo or a photo of Lewis and Bottas in their overalls, and they said, "Oh, look how good our drivers are in their black overalls." And I know they're trying to make a statement, some political statement, and everything else like that. But Bottas immediately responded to it, saying, "Yeah, they're hot." And that goes back to a few races ago in Silverstone. Well, I think it was
Yeah.
Silverstone where he's just like, the
Yeah.
guy lost 4 kilos in a race, and he's just like, they're really hot. Like, this is ridiculous. So this really, and he's now complaining to the team. He goes, the overalls are too hot. Like, the cars get up to about 50, 60 degrees Celsius
No, they
when
were
they're,
this color of overalls makes it too hot.
yeah,
He was
yeah,
talking about the color of the overall, and yeah, okay.
yeah. And then you
I,
can see he's sitting there going, and I think this is him really complaining about them always pandering to Hamilton, because Hamilton's obviously making a political statement. You saw his stupid shirt at the last race. Um,
that
and
was really uncalled for. That was
that
really
I think
misplaced.
I
And
think
the problem with this is that him continuing to do this is just going to make people uninterested about the freaking debate itself.
Yeah, and
Um,
you know what's really shitty about all of this, and this doesn't, and okay, so we're kind of departing a little bit from Formula One, but you see exactly the same thing happening in the NBA. You see exactly the same thing happening in the NFL. I know those are very US centric sports, but the reality is what's happening is they are losing viewership in a very, very big way. And me personally, the reason why I think that is because sports are not decisive in this sorry, decisive. Sports are not divisive.
exactly.
You
They're
and me as
inclusive. I
you
agree.
and yeah, you and me as like, even if we just look at it as race fans, and me as like a really big world endurance racing fan, the racing, we don't give a fuck who you are. It's This is our car,
Yeah,
this
but
is our team, this is our driver.
race,
You know, it's
race, like you will have the good thinking people.
yeah.
Racist is the same route, and there will be. I can
uh,
imagine
Fuck off,
how
get out, get
how
off.
how like some people will think something like this, and it's
Yeah,
just
but
disgusting way of
this is the
thinking.
thing. Sports are not divisive in this way, and what ends up happening
No,
is when you
sports are not divisive.
yeah,
Sports are inclusive,
yeah, the
and
second
yeah, to your
yeah,
point, it's great. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and the
The point you're
second you
making is
start
great.
bringing the second you start bringing this shit in, is the second you start going, no, no, now you're creating a problem. There was
That
no
did not
problem before.
exist in the
Yeah,
first place,
there wasn't a
and
problem in the
yeah.
first place, and I just look at that and I go, leave this shit to the woke
Oh, is that
whatever idiot.
something that's happening in Australia?
I don't know
People
what is.
create some problems that don't exist.
Yeah. But
No, no.
you know
Coming back
what?
to your point A again, if Bottas is saying that put me on a different strategy than Hamilton, that means he's thinking about Hamilton and the way he can outpace him or whatever.
Yeah.
He's not thinking what he can do best. He's
Yeah.
thinking what I can do best against, you know. And I'm sorry. The thing is, it's like playing ball against a wall.
Yeah.
The wall will always win
Yeah.
because the
Yeah. Yeah.
ball, the wall will always send back that ball that you're trying to hit it with.
Yeah.
You'll always lose,
Yeah.
and that's what Bottas. His frame of mind is in this. I feel he needs to get out of it. He's an immensely talented driver. Do the things that you do right.
Yeah.
That's it. And focus on this. Don't stop focusing on your teammate
The other thing as well, like we
because
have to accept that Lewis Hamilton is a special kind of driver, you know.
man,
So
he's you know he's the best anyway. He's the best of all times.
yeah, after this
He's the best of all times. Um,
season, he will be. He'll knock Schumacher off
After
his
this year, yeah,
podium.
it's gonna be the same level of Schumacher, but he knocked him on number of race wins and all of that. And remember he's done this in different teams, always with a Mercedes engine,
Yeah,
with him. But he's done this in different teams as well. You cannot fault the guy. And as much as we don't want to see him, I mean, the guy is likable as well. I mean, he's going his own way. Um, he's a great looking guy. Um,
yeah.
what is there else to say? I mean, the
No,
guy
no,
is
there's no complaints from me. I mean,
wow.
Hamilton is great, but
I mean,
I think I've already discussed my problem with Hamilton. Whether it's on the podcast or with everyone around me that asked about Formula One, I just thought when he came into the sport, he was always complaining about really stupid things, and that really fucking annoyed me.
yes, of
And then when we look at
course.
that stupid shirt he wore last time, I was just like,
But that's the
this is
sign. That
this
is
is
the sign of a perfectionist, also. You
yeah,
know.
but I just sort of go, this is getting back to that time when you really annoyed me. I was coming on board. I was coming around to like I have no doubts about his talent, but I was coming on board to, Hamilton is definitely a guy, like I can't doubt it. I think he's fantastic, and I
It's
like the guy and everything.
unbelievable,
But then he
unbelievable.
does this stupid shit. Like remember a while ago it was that whole Pussycat Dolls problem and how it affected his performance at McLaren and all that stuff. I just go,
I'm not really looking outside. For me, I like the racing,
no,
and
but
in the racing, it's
how he
just
makes stupid shit like that attributable to his performance. You
uh,
know what I mean? I just
it's not his problem. I mean, it's not my problem. At the end of the day, for me, I love the racing, and I
yeah,
think on the track he's just unbelievable.
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
And outside the track, he's also unbelievable in the way he sets up the car, or works with the engineers and all of that. Just unbelievable. After this, the public life of it, I don't care. I usually don't watch, the end of the race. I don't watch the interviews. I don't really care. For me, I love the racing. It's on track.
yeah,
That's the talking to me.
yeah, yeah,
And it's the talking from the teams, from the hardware, and it's the talking from the drivers as well.
yeah. Look,
At the end of the day, Hamilton doesn't get driver of the day all the time, right?
I don't think
Uh,
he gets it very often, to be honest.
no, no, because people want to vote for the people who overtake and all of this, yeah. And when he's put in that position, he does it as well. But I think enough about F1. We're gonna have
No, no.
Sochi next.
There's one more thing I want to touch on in
10,
F1.
10 past 6 p.m. Next week. It's not 8 p.m. It's
Okay.
6 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, this is the race that's a bit
Yeah,
different.
it's starting a bit earlier.
But there's one thing I want to bring up just before, um, just before
Aston Martin.
we go to World Endurance Championship.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Did you see this?
yeah. But the thing is, when I see this, and I'm like, I'm like, I mean, come on. But it's generations, right? And so I feel old
Yeah.
actually because I'm gonna react to this and say, yeah, come on. I mean, bunch of
But no,
pussies.
it's not that. It's not the comment. It's the fact that Kimi Raikkonen did it.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
Like and I love this. He goes, evolution of the Formula One driver. You see James Hunt smoking and drinking, and then you see Lewis Hamilton dressed in I don't know, grandmother's clothes.
Fucking pajama. I mean, like
Yeah,
seriously, what
what
it
a
was he thinking when he
yeah,
wore that day? I mean, and the fact that it actually is matching is just aggravating. It's unbelievable. I mean,
it's
the
trash.
lack of taste there is just like it looks like vomit around him.
And you
It
are
looks like like one of those evenings we have with too much tequila and pizzas, and then you just vomit this onto a t-shirt, and that's the pattern there.
yeah, and you know what?
But
I
contrary to you, on such an evening, he was able to save the shoes.
yeah, I don't have a problem with the shoes. But then you look at
No,
the sock,
remember?
but then you look at this, but then you look and go, the socks don't match at all. But you know what? The
No, but
reality,
the whole thing is so tacky.
yeah,
It's
but
so unbelievably
I
bad.
you and I aren't exactly fashion icons, but you are French, and I will take your opinion over, let's say, a German, for fashion. But I love how Kimi Räikkönen, he just out of the blue, there was nothing that prompted this. Goes evolution of a Formula One driver,
Yeah,
James.
because I'm sure, he's our generation. Okay, you're younger than I am,
Yeah,
10 years younger. But the thing is, in spirit, we're the same generation, and for us, like seeing something like this is just disgusting in terms
yeah,
of taste.
I think Hamilton and I are the same age, but I look at this shit, and then but I love the following post. So he posted this formula, this picture.
Okay.
It's like, and then the next post was, "Don't worry, not all hope is lost yet." It's just a picture of him smoking drunk.
Yeah, and he's freaking wasted, and he's 41 years 40 41 years
40,
old.
no 40.
Anyway, and he's still racing at his, I must say, still at the same consistently really high level.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. He's still beating his teammate,
he is. Yeah,
Giovinazzi, who is, one of the main supported Ferrari talent out there. Um, it's unbelievable that
yeah,
he can consistently do this. And I think, this is what's going to get interesting in the next couple of weeks. There's a lot of drivers on the market. There's more drivers than seats.
yeah.
Um,
Sadly, that's the case. Yeah,
and it's like this most years, but the thing is that this time is quite unbelievable.
yeah.
The choice that they are, and there are a few seats available right now because nobody announced Alfa Romeo, As, and there's another team. I think there are essentially 6 seats right now,
Yeah.
that are still, well, not announced, let's say. So
But I
let's see
mean,
what happens.
yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting. I mean, touching on Raikkonen, it's going to be sad to see him actually retire now. You know,
Yeah, but is he gonna retire?
I
It's not
don't know.
official. Nobody knows. I mean,
Raikkonen's. I think he is my favorite driver.
Sauber. I mean, Alfa Romeo, the
Yeah,
team principal. Um, what's his name? The French guy. Anyway, he was saying that nothing is set, right now, and he was also saying or praising Raikkonen in the performance that he has, which is very consistent, very fast all the time.
yeah. I mean, Raikkonen's great. I mean, I
He
would have
just
to
needs a
say,
couple of drinks before he goes out the track, but
yeah, or ice cream,
yeah.
or ice cream. He's an ice cream fan. But man, like I don't know, like when we look at favorite drivers out there, I would have to say, uh, in F1, not in other series, I would really have to say like Raikkonen is up there, Vettel is up there, obviously Schumacher for me, and Hulkenberg are up there. And
Ricardo before Hulkenberg to me.
yeah, actually Ricardo,
Um,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
and then okay, I'm French, maybe I'm biased, all of that, but Gasly for me is a fucking. He's outstanding in the way
Yeah,
he yeah, just took the heat and is making it happen. The guy is just an outstanding talent. So I would
mm.
put first of all, Hamilton is first there.
Yeah, but we're
I
talking
think Vettel is
all
not
time.
performing to where he should be, so I would put Leclerc before him. I would put Ricardo in there, and then Gasly.
But I'm talking like all time. Would you say that?
All time.
Yeah, I mean, Alain Prost would be up there for you, right?
Yeah, Alain Prost would be up there. Schumacher, yeah, would be out there. But for me, the number one would be Hamilton. Then I would say Senna. I
Yeah,
would
I
put Senna
mean,
in there, and Fangio.
I am
I would put,
Fangio.
like
Yeah,
those guys, those guys from way back when you know you, you knew what you were getting it, but you never knew whether you were getting out at any
yeah,
time.
yeah. I
So
actually, yeah, you
yeah,
know what? Like,
Fangio,
if I'm talking about the modern era, it really is like Vettel, Raikkonen, Schumacher,
Hakkinen, Hakkinen, man, Hakkinen,
Hakkinen.
pure
Yeah, yeah,
pure space,
yeah,
pure pace.
Hakkinen as well. But if we're talking
Alonso,
about,
Alonso. No, it's very difficult. I
yeah,
mean,
it is.
we
But I would also say, like, if we're talking about historically, James Hunt, Senna, Prost. Um, there's a few others from the '70s as well. Hunt. Sorry,
yeah,
Stewart,
James
Jack,
Hunt is just, yeah,
Jackie
Jackie
Stewart.
Stewart.
You know,
I mean, all those guys are legendary. But I would say, probably the first one out there in terms of, if it's, the mark that it left, would be Senna,
yeah.
Schumacher,
Have I just lost Julian?
but also because of his way of racing.
Yeah,
And then you would have, yeah, the hey, Juan Manuel Fangio, yeah, you
yeah.
have to put him in there, right?
Fangio,
So
man, like Fangio. You had a lot of these old legends. Who was the
yeah,
guy? Top Gear did well. Old Top Gear did a feature on this guy. What's his name again?
I gotta go for a second.
That's all right. Well, how about while you're doing your business, what I can actually do is talk about move on to World Endurance Championship. So
Yeah, talk about WEC a little bit.
yeah, so for all those who don't know, like my big race of the year, it's not Monaco. It's not it. I absolutely love F1,
How about the
and
24 hours of Monaco? Can you imagine this?
oh my god, that'd be crazy.
Haha,
But it's
that'd be
too
great.
the track is not big enough for the speed that these cars
Yeah,
go. It's too
but for
small
the
of a track.
sheer numbers of cars, you need large tracks. So
Yeah, I mean, there's 56 cars at Le Mans. Like, it's a lot of cars. But
yeah.
when we're looking at, like, I mean, for those that watch this podcast regularly, I mean, this is very much an F1 centric podcast. However, the thing,
No, no,
I'm
no,
a,
no, no. It's a race
it is
centric
a race
podcast.
yeah,
Yeah, the Formula One, happened when we started, or started again when we started the podcast. But at the end of the day, it's a race and a car centric podcast.
yeah,
Formula One is because we love it. But I think there's more to it. We're talking about WEC. We're talking about the cars that we have, the cars that we want to own, and everything.
yeah. And when we're talking about, the big thing for me, personally, the big race for me is Le Mans, and I'm a massive fan of World Endurance Championship. So, we don't talk about it much on this podcast, but as we're recording this, the World Endurance Championship, well, sorry, the Le Mans 24 hour, which is the World Endurance Championship, is based around this race. And say what you want about Formula One, Le Mans 24 hour is the race. So when we're talking about triple headers, we're talking about an F1 championship.
Outside of porn, yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about the F1 championships, um, and uh, the second thing you want to win is Le Mans, and the third thing you want to win is Indy 500. You know. Oh look, we've just had a comment. So we've had Sans the skeleton. So he's saying, "Hi, I just retired from the Marines after serving 55 years, and now I'm at the airport about to go home. Congratulations. Have have a safe trip. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Whether that's a real comment or not doesn't matter. I mean, that's quite admirable. Anyway, as I was saying, so when we're talking triple headers, we don't even talk about the full season of World Endurance
Outside of
Championship.
porn.
Yeah, we're not even talking about the full season of World Endurance Championship. We're actually talking about, um, what is it? Just the race of Le Mans, which is the greatest race in history. It's been running. This is the 91st year that they've 91 years since they started. So it's not the 91st race, but we're an hour and 50 minutes away from the race start as we're recording this. I'm actually watching the countdown, but we touched on Alpine. So something I can quickly show you is we talked about Alpine joining F1, which both Julian and I are very happy about. But I think we're happy about it for different reasons. So Julian is happy to see the resurgence of the brand to show that to
Yes,
show
and
that
yes, and I'm expecting that there's going to be some things coming after that also. Yeah.
yeah. Um, I agree. So let me just pull this up so you can see it. World Endurance. What is it? What's the title? WC. Okay. I've just got so many tabs open. Just bear with me. This one. So this is actually the Renault Alpine Signatech Signatech
Yeah.
Alpine car. So
I
this
love
is
that
their
logo as well. That A of Alpine.
yeah. So this
It's
is this
unbelievable.
is their website, but basically they are have been a world endurance championship team for a very long time. Um, and to see them next year jumping up into the LMP1 category, so that's their car. So they're jumping up into the LMP1 category for next year, which for me is really exciting. As I said earlier in the podcast, that uh, Toyota doesn't look unbeatable at the moment because Rebellion Racing, which is a big team, and have been in World Endurance Championship as long as a lot of teams. Um, they're actually a watch company, but I think they sell watches to go racing. Um, they were quicker than Toyota in a lot of areas of the lead up to the race, which is going to be in about 2 hours. So it's really cool to see Alpine jumping up into LMP1, as well as
Well,
as well as seeing Alpine in F1. So I
I
mean, they're going
must
to be racing at the top tier in
I,
both categories.
I must say to the audience as well that starting ahead of the grid, being first on the in qualifying to be first on the line when the flag comes down to start the race is not necessarily the biggest thing
No,
or the most
definitely
important
not.
thing. So again, you have cars that can be the fastest around one lap. But the consistency and the reliability, most of all, is really important in the WEC. Um, so the important thing as well, though, is when you're ahead of the grid or first on the grid, is that you have the security of not getting into any shenanigans because some people want to race on the very first lap. And sometimes make stupid decisions on the very first lap. Um, and yeah, again, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah, but I mean, you do have to do that with endurance racing, and for me, I'm really excited for the start of the race. I mean, it's been such a
Oh,
turbulent year, and normally, for everyone watching, Le Mans is in June, second, third week of June, and it flew by, and to see it actually come back is incredible. So I'm
can you
really happy to
describe?
see.
Sorry, can you describe what you're showing on screen right now?
Yeah, so what I actually wanted to show as well is in 2022, the LMP1 category is actually going bye bye, because what the FIA and the ACO I think it's Automobili Club or something like that. It's French. I can't pronounce it. But
You call
they
it asshole?
yeah, they're replacing the LMP1 category with something called the hypercar category. So the hypercar category is going back to the Group B, just like the 787Bs, right?
Yay.
But well, going sorry, Group B 787Bs, but you're also talking about the CLK GTR, the Porsche GT1, the McLaren F1 Longtail. You're going back to production spec cars.
Hmm.
And Peugeot was historically has been a really successful team in endurance racing. I mean, the battles between them and Audi were absolutely
And led
incredible.
by, when they won, led by no other than Jean Todt.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my God,
who's
the
the
world is small.
the person that was in charge of I can't remember what was
The
his
905.
no 908.
Oh, 908, sorry,
Yeah, what
yes.
was that? What was his name? I'm just googling it now. He's actually in charge of Toyota. Um, what was his name? Can't find it. But essentially, to see Peugeot coming back is incredible, and what they've done is they are entering. So obviously Toyota has committed; they're coming back for the hypercar um, formula, and
Yeah.
what Toyota has said, no, 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 we're bringing a hypercar back as well, and this is like for me fucking fantastic because man, to see Peugeot back, the historic battles they had against Audi in like the 2000s was amazing. To see, not the 918, the R19 or the R18. What is happening over where you are?
I say hello to my son.
Hello, Alex. But what was happening there was those battles to me, Le Mans. To me, Le Mans is defined by
Vas-y,
the.
madame, vas-y, vas-y, vas-y. Non, non, non.
To me, Le Mans was defined by those battles. What are you doing?
I'm teaching my son
Okay,
how to treat you right.
I understand. But to me, like the big battles that were historic, and like when I was a teenager and going through university and all that stuff, the big battles were always Audi and Peugeot. At the front of the field of the World Endurance Championship, in particular Le Mans. And of course, Peugeot did win a few times from Audi, but Audi was so dominant. And there was one race, I think it was 17 or 16, 2016, that Peugeot was leading. They had three cars leading, one, two, three, and as the race went on, they all had the same failure. Bang, turbo blew, and then you just saw them go bang, another turbo blew, and then car at the front, bang, turbo blew, and those are the things where it really pulls your heartstrings, man. You're just like, I want this team to win so bad. And then you just see you're watching the helicopter cam, they're following the lead car, and you just see that explosion from the back of the car with a
Mm.
turbo, and you're just like, oh my God. And you see the team, they're absolutely devastated. This is when they were like, they were gonna win against Audi finally. They won the next year, but they were gonna win against Audi finally, and then that it all just went down the toilet. Same thing happened for Toyota in 2018, I think, or 2019, where
Well, last freaking lap, right? Yeah.
last lap,
Everybody was crying.
yeah, the whole team was just devastated. Like last lap, it was Nakajima was driving, I think it was, or Nakajima or Kobayashi. I think it was Nakajima, but he was approaching last lap, and then suddenly the car stopped on the last lap as they were leading the race from Audi. No, from Porsche. Sorry, it would have been their first win, and it was just like, I was
That
just like,
is
oh my god.
unbelievably painful, right? You're like you're
The
racing for
the
24
score,
hours. You're
yeah.
first. You're
But
heading the field and everything,
you
and
watch these races and you see the interviews through the pits. You get to know over 24 hours. You get to know the teams, who the people are,
hmm,
what they're feeling. Like you feel that sense of joy crossing the line at 24 hours. Like you feel like you're like obviously you don't feel like the driver, but you feel that emotion of like them crossing the line. It's
yeah,
just like to me, it's better what than watching the best movie ever because I mean there is so much happening in there. There's so much strategy. There's so much like I remember in 2008 when Audi had the R18 driving, when they had the open top cars. Oh my god! Like the fact that they were leading the race, they pulled cars into the pits. They did gearbox changes in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Like it was just like the like it blew everyone's mind
and
away.
that's actually I must say, with those cars is that they designed them to be really really fast, but in the end, you should design them to be able to change the parts so quickly as well.
Yeah, I mean the cars are designed to. This is what they're built for, and arguably, like I think F1 has really lost its way in terms of like, well, actually no, F1 really is the pinnacle of
Be
going.
careful what you say.
Yeah, yeah, F1 really is the
Because a
pinnacle.
friendship is pending.
It's really the pinnacle of going fast, right?
Yes.
But if you want to talk about delivering technology that will be that will be accessible to us, it really is the World Endurance Championship. It really is Le Mans. Like you
Yeah.
look at how much technology is spread across the entire car industry now because of Le Mans. The diesel technologies, you can say what you want about diesels because of controversy, but the diesel technologies is what won all those races for Audis. If you want to talk about
Thank you. Yeah.
the lighting technologies, like laser beam headlights is an Audi invention derived from Le Mans racing. So much of the technology that is developed from manufacturers for to go racing at Le Mans goes from the car from the race car into the production car. And for that, I sit there and go, this is why another reason why I love Le Mans because whatever is happening, whether it's a small component or a big component of the car, I know in a year, 2, 3 years, I'll be sitting in a car knowing that Le Mans is the reason why, a historic race is the reason why my car now has this, that, the other.
I think overall racing does this, but yeah, okay, I'll take your point.
Yeah.
So where are we now
What do you mean?
in terms of what's the countdown
All right, let me just pull up the countdown.
to the countdown, man?
We are one
It's
hour
time
and
for the countdown.
38 minutes away from race start. 1 hour.
You said it's 7:30. Oh yeah, it's 7:30.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
This podcast tends to go quite long.
How long have we been going on
This one's actually a bit shorter, an hour 20 minutes.
already?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go back to streaming. Racing.
Yeah, soon, 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 soon. I have to actually sort this shit out and then change computers for racing. We can actually run a
I'm
marathon.
ready, man. I'm ready.
Where's my controller? Oh, it's over here.
Actually, I need to charge my controller.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. But yeah, man. Yeah, well, we can call the podcast there. We might actually restart the stream for
Yeah. I don't want to talk to anybody now.
yeah. All right. We might play a bit of Mario Kart and
But I like you, guys.
okay,
But I don't
everybody.
want to talk to you anymore. It's
Thank you.
enough.
Thank you to everybody on Twitch that joined. We
Yeah.
did actually have a few
And
people that joined.
therefore, thank you, no one.
No. We actually had a few people. We actually
Oh,
had a
did
few
we?
people join. Yeah.
Yeah, but they
And
obviously left. How
yeah, of
rude.
course. How rude. But
Without saying anything.
thanks to everyone that joined us on Twitch. For those of you that are going to be watching, now in the past on Facebook, um,
And in the future,
in the future,
think about the future generations, man.
Remember to like, share, subscribe if you enjoy this podcast. We have rather irreverent views on how we talk about racing, but
Yeah,
that's just who we are. And frankly, we don't care because we're
it's
not going to
mostly
care.
him. Mostly the other window. That other guy. Yeah, that's mostly him.
Yeah.
Either whatever.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody, and have a good weekend. And please watch Le Mans. And for those of you who are watching on whenever we post this, oh, well, you probably already watched it. Bye, everybody.